going. Throw the thumbnail in. I'll start playing some music. Dude, the first image of you when I hit Google that pops up is you and Nick, the fat electrician, with your arm wrapped around him.
No, I like that shit, dog. That made me happy. We look like brothers, dude.
Dude, I don't know what it is about like Nick's Midwestern thing, but everybody that stands next to him look like you could be related. Like if you're country fed or a thicker fella, and you stand next to Nick, you automatically look like your cousins.
Sure do be inclined to be liking me some cousins. Mm-hmm. Sure enough.
Sure enough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if we can't get this thing going. All right, and we're on. Welcome to another Angry Streams, you beautiful bunch of weirdos. Today I have a special guest. He's my favorite criminal, ex-criminal, on the straight and narrow, even though he did get sepsis one time by shoving a whole bunch of rotten mayonnaise up his butthole. And that is my good friend, Shady Delay, who's here.
No, you're not the first law enforcement official to call me special. I had a CO when I was in prison who used to say, "You special, Delay. Bless your heart." And I think she liked me.
It's not, you know what? Let me tell you what. It's hard to dislike you, bud.
There's plenty of people on the internet who would disagree with you, my friend.
Yeah, but I think there's enough people that have met you in real life. I think you and I have like a similar kind of, I don't want to say mentality, but similar kind of like stigma where people look at us and they're like, we've got our own idea of him. We've got him figured out. He's this, and I don't like him. And then you get to meet us, and then, you know, after like the first like 20 minutes, you're kind of like, oh, this guy's just weird. He's not an asshole. He's just fucking weird.
I'm like Viagra, bro. Pop me, give me 20 minutes, I'll grow on you.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, fair.
Trying to fuck with this gosh dang window capture. There we go. I've got
I like how
now.
you drop a hard F and then gosh dang afterwards.
It's the Lord's name in vain. There's difference between cursing and using the Lord's name, JD. You know that for gosh dang sure. That dude, and it's like the drill sergeant thing, man. Like you're not. They don't say you can't swear in basic training at the privates, right? But they say they don't want you to just like fly off the handle and use curse words as a crutch word. And I get it, because if you swear too much, it makes you look uneducated. Like there's other words that you can use to describe how you feel besides fucking all the time. And honestly, when I interview a bunch of criminals, you know, for the shit that I do, like they'll all just be like, nah, I mean, you know, nah, I mean. I'm like, no, dude, I do not know what you mean. That is why you're here talking to me, to tell me what you mean. So I try not to swear as much. And one of those crutch words that I use instead of, you know, curse words are freaking and like, gosh dang, gall darn, weirdo, you. Like, cause instead of saying, hey, fucker, I'll be like, hey, you, hey, guy. And then people start to get it.
I'm not your guy, buddy.
I'm not your buddy,
look,
pal.
Here's the thing. I'm going to say this, and I'm allowed to say this. It's not racist for all you bleeding heart liberals out there who are going to get upset at this, because I was a criminal for 20 years, but criminals aren't the most articulate people a lot of the time. I mean, there's a few rare shining gems, such as myself, but for the most part,
brother,
a lot of
you're
them
articulate.
might be a little bit. I mean, you said I was special, so I thought that meant I was good.
Man, I didn't mean like special like McDonald's sauce. I meant special like the guy's making it.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll take that.
But bro, we were talking before we started the live stream, and we were talking about your bout with the Secret Service and how you were making counterfeit $100 bills. And what was
making money?
How? Tell me again, so that everybody can hear it. The interesting way that you were making $100 bills.
Okay, so look, man, I was out in the state of Florida, and my main thing is I was doing fraud. We started with check fraud. I found it really hit or miss. I got into credit cards, and I was banging them, bro. I was getting them on the credit cards, and it was a guilt-free sort of feeling because I was using pharmaceutical reps, card numbers. They issue pharmaceutical representatives card numbers. They go out and they wine and dine the shit out of doctors and try to get them to push whatever they're selling.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of friends who died from the opioid epidemic, so I'm like, I have no feelings about robbing a pharmaceutical company.
Were you do
But
that with
I
like
met
the
up with
gift
this,
cards and you would like change the scanning thing on the gift card to the credit card?
yeah. So there's the magnetic strip on that on the gift cards. You could take that and you put it through a reader writer, and you can rewrite it. And then also, I had an embosser, so I would emboss whatever name was going along with. I was printing fake IDs too.
Mhm.
So I would, create just a fake person and an ID. And I wasn't doing this myself. I wasn't going to go on a camera and swipe some shit because
Yeah.
that's how you get caught. I would have ducks, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I thought we call
Like
them
a
Smurfs.
presentable. Yeah, that's what's up. You find the most presentable looking meth head who cares nothing about their freedom
Oh yeah.
and be like, hey man, you want to make some money? Like, let's do this.
I'll give you
So
50
I
bucks
was
and you cash this $1,200 check.
that part.
Bro, we live
But
we live in the same world. It was just opposite sides.
yeah, and like literally, man, I've always had that idea as far as law enforcement. Like, we both have a job to do. You have to be good at your job once when it comes to me, and I'm fucked. I have to be good at it every single time. And then you layer in the fact that like I've been up for like 3 days, 8 days, 12 days on meth, and I
Yeah.
can't even see straight. And I look like I just walked out of Auschwitz, bro. I'm like, only Irish dude on Schindler's List, bro. Like, it just is what it is, bro. I'm not in my best shape. So I got caught,
We say
fairly
a
decent amount
similar
of times.
saying. Instead of like we say
Yeah,
you have to get lucky every day. We only have to get lucky once.
fair. But you guys are doing your job. And you guys are the ones doing the righteous job. I'm out there victimizing my community and being a whole piece of shit, bro. I never held it against law enforcement when y'all won, bro. I was 100% in the wrong. But I met up with this dude who was counterfeiting, and he was doing a shitty job, bro. Like,
Yeah.
he was using like typewriter paper and printing these just booty ass $100 bills and $50 bills. And I was like, look, man, here's the thing: is every $10 bill has the strip in it. There's a little strip that you hold up to a UV light and you see the strip, and it's in the same exact location as the strip on $100 bills. So the same with fives and 50s. So I taught him how to wash them. You go down to like, how explicit are your people going to use this and actually do this?
No.
Should I give the whole recipe away?
Yeah, dude,
Okay.
it's
So
fine.
I'd go down to Dollar Tree and get that purple Fabuloso. And
Fabuloso.
you mix it with a little bit of water. Yeah. And you mix it with a little bit of water, and you put the bills in it, and you run it through the microwave for like 15 seconds, pull it out, give it a nice little soft scrub. Do it 3 or 4 times like that, and it'll be a completely blank bill. And then you reprint them, the tens or hundreds and the fives or 50s. And I'm not giving, it's a little more complicated than that because you have to get the alignment perfect and everything.
Yeah,
And
you can see when it's off.
this, yeah, this dude was just doing it all in one print. I was doing multiple prints, so you'd have one color layer, then another color layer. It gives it tonality, and everything like that. But if you've got if you got an older 100 to be able to copy before they put the little blue strips on it, that's the best. But we were actually figuring out ways to replicate the little blue hologram strips on the new hundreds until I went on the dark web and I found I could buy those hologram strips counterfeited in bulk, and I was like, yes, dope. So when I got busted, the Secret Service was the ones who busted us in association with local law enforcement. The SWAT team was there. So we were
How long were you
down
doing
in
it before
South
they
Florida.
busted you? Because I feel like it takes forever for the Secret Service to catch on to counterfeit shit. Because I used to find counterfeit shit on dudes all the time, and I'd be like, counterfeit money, red flag, somebody's fucking making it. And I mean, it's not their job to tell the patrol officer who made the arrest that, they busted something, but I never hear anything about it on the news or nothing.
Well, here's the thing though, is so we were not spending it in our own backyard. I didn't like to shit where I eat. So if I was gonna go do like a bunch of rampant credit card fraud, and even, have my ducks on camera, or we were gonna go have people, break the bills and, come back with the change, take 100, spend 5 or 10, and then bring back real money. Whatever we were doing, passing it off to drug dealers, I don't want to do that in my
Oh
own
yeah.
backyard. They're going to come back and shoot me. So we traveled a lot. So that helped, just not staying in the same place for too long. We were doing it for 6 to 8 months. And then we were down in South Florida and we were literally at a hotel and I just hit homie up because we had two rooms next to each other that we'd gotten on, credit card and an ID that wasn't either of us. And so I told him I wanted Chipotle. I was hungry and I fucks with burritos, dog. I hadn't eaten in like 3 or 4 days because we were spackle-gacked on the old crystal meth,
Fucking
wiggling the paint off the
spackle-gacked.
walls. We were waffled the fuck back, bro.
I never heard spackle
Um,
gacked. I love it.
Yeah. So we went to Chipotle and then he wanted to stop like at a Walmart and grab some like supplies on the way back. Because we weren't like doing laundry or any of that shit. We bought brand new every stuff and
What's
I'd
up with
always be
that,
like, I'm
man?
going in
Dude,
with
I
you.
see the fucking pile of old clothes in every fucking trap house, and I'm just like, dude, like, you'll buy a new fucking set of clothes every day, but you can't buy like a used $150 washer. You've already got Fabuloso from fucking washing the tens. Like, throw the shit
Well,
in
bro,
there.
I mean, for myself, I can't speak for everybody, but like when I do meth, I hyperfixate on felonies, I hyperfixate on money, and I don't do normal human people shit, bro. You're not gonna catch me cooking, you're not gonna catch me doing laundry, and I travel a lot because I don't want to stay in one place if I'm doing crime sprees, prolific crime sprees. So I would just get, 7 or 8 outfits at a time and, just change out and throw my old stuff away. And I would do that, once a week. So we did that. And by the time we got back to the hotel, there was one police cruiser in the parking lot. And I'm like, dog, I got a bad feeling. Something doesn't feel right. Do not pull back in the hotel. And he's like, nah, dog, it's not a big deal. I'm like, homie, we are at like this nice hotel on a golf course. I had specifically gotten this hotel and we went and put a bunch of golf clothes on a fake credit card and we were dressed in all, Nike golf clothes and,
Yeah, playing the
we
part.
looked like
Blending in.
crack we looked like crackhead meth head golfers, bro. And he pulled in. I'm like, bro, they're here for us. He's like, there's no way they're here for us. I'm like, we're the only tweakers here, bro, promise. So he pulls in and I knew as soon as we got out of the truck they were going to come for us. So I'm like emptying out my pockets of anything that could be illegal. And we jumped out of the truck and they came out of the bushes, full fatigues, dog, like full on. And they had, automatic weapons pointed at us and beating on us because he had a fucking BB gun in his hotel room and they thought it was a real gun, so they were expecting us to be armed and shit. And Florida goes hard. Their law enforcement's nuts, bro. And it turned out it was the Secret Service with local law enforcement because he hadn't put a do not disturb sign on his door. And when housekeeping went in to change the sheets or whatever the fuck they were going to do, they found a whole bunch of half printed bills that he had left out. So it was just a random act of stupidity that got us caught. But I'm really grateful that it happened because that was the moment that turned my life around. Like, there was something in me that broke. Normally, when you have Secret Service, the feds jump out of the bushes at you and they've got guns in your face and shit, you've got some feeling of like, oh, fuck, or something, or like, maybe I'm going to run. I just completely surrendered right then. I just threw my hands in the air and I was like, this is over. I need this to be over. I had tried to end my own life multiple times the months preceding that. I was just empty. Nothing made me feel anything. I had all the money. I could go buy any toy that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? There were girls everywhere. I just didn't give a fuck about anything anymore except my dog. And so I just threw my hands in the air. The dog was in the truck, and I just said, dude, don't shoot my fucking dog. And the Secret Service was super cool with my dog.
You're
They
like, he
actually made
wasn't
sure
the
my dog got back to
ATF.
my roommate. Fuck, bro. My dog would have been so dead.
You'd have been smoked. Oh, your fucking mic cut out.
What did it?
Oh, there
Am
you
I
go.
back?
You're back.
Yeah, that was my service animal for 13 years, bro, for my PTSD. And honestly, I wouldn't have made it through early recovery without her, bro. So rest in peace, Olive.
Same dog?
For 13 years, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, she was my Oregon and Florida crime spree buddy. She got arrested in a trap house raid. I made it over the back fence. I couldn't make it over the fence with her, so I had to go down to the pound and get her a day later.
Dude.
They built a whole case off that shit too.
I had a CI call me in the middle of a raid for the house I wrote a warrant for and was like, probably should stay away from that house for the next couple of days. Fucking tweakers, man. Goes into the house, is fucking smoking up, buys his fucking rock. Boom, boom, boom. Buffalo police. Pow. Flashbangs. Fucking lights it up. Just sucking it down, calling me, and is like, hey, they're raiding the house. They're raiding the house. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up. Get off the phone, follow their directions, and don't fucking say anything. What does this kid do? What does this fucking kid do? Do you think he doesn't say anything, JD?
He snitched you out, right?
Dude,
Every dropping your name.
Every fucking SWAT officer that's going through the house and is like, hands on your head, turn around, blah, blah. He's like, hey, oh, I know this guy. I know this guy. I work for this guy. Hey, or I'm one of you. I work with you. And they're like, hey, okay, just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut up.
Get it on more body cams, homie. Get it on more body cams.
And dude, all these SWAT guys know how it is. You know, some of them are detectives in different units. Some of them are supervisors for different units. And they know how we work, especially the unit that I was with. I was with FBI Safe Streets for a little while in our intelligence unit. So I was going after gang members, you know, violent gang members and shit with the feds. And so they've done tons of these warrants. They know how working CIs are. They know how the only way that CIs get caught isn't from us trying to slip paperwork or saying hi in public. It's because the CI doesn't shut the fuck up. And when they get pulled over with their girlfriend, we'll start dropping names and be like, yo, I work with so-and-so. And patrol officers will be like, bro, I'm pulling you over for a ticket right now. And you're saying this in front of a woman? Are you stupid? Are you fucking stupid? Shut up.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Dude,
That's
all the time.
Like I said, bro, a lot of the criminals, they might not be articulate and they might also have a little bit of the tardism, you know?
We have a saying,
I want to ask you this.
we don't catch the smart ones. That's our saying. We don't catch the smart ones.
I want to ask you this because I like the reason that I got my sales of methamphetamines charge was because of a CI doing a controlled buy on me. He was one of my really close friends, I had thought. So I've always kind of wondered how that works. You literally gave CI's tips of like where to avoid and shit like that? Like don't be at this house for the next couple days and
So saying don't be at this specific house on Saturday isn't something that we would do. Like, that's not something that I would do. That's not something anybody would do. We would say, hey, you need to lay low for a while. That would be, we're going to hit some of the places you might have visited code, right? Like, hey, you need to lay low for a while because we're going to be in your area. And I'm not going to say where, but we're going to be in the area that you fucking buy from. So why don't you lay low for a little while until somebody calls you up and says, hey, they hit so-and-so. And then you can go back over into the area. That's kind of our way of saying lay low for a second. Now, depending on how
you
bad
expect them to be able to read, you expect them to be able to read between the lines like a fourth grader would.
Yeah, and they do for the most part. But here's the thing too: when you're working with an addict, like when your CI is a crackhead or a fiend, right? Your CI is a crackhead and a fiend, or a fiend. So They're trustworthy, but you don't. That doesn't mean you trust them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're a liability.
Yeah. Well, not even. They're a liability to
junkies are a
themselves.
liability, bro.
They're not
Yeah.
like. I don't want to say they're a liability, right? To me, right? Because they're a liability to themselves. So if they want to make money from me, right? Because what we have done is we'll pay you for information, we'll pay you for the weight, and obviously the more weight, the more money you get, and then also for guns, handguns, automatic guns, deserialized guns, you'll get more money for, right? Especially volume. So if you want more money, you've got to come in and tell us what's up. So one, we know that you're around it because you're in that life. That doesn't mean that you're not just telling me something to make me happy. You have to build a relationship with them, right? But what they'll do is they'll be on crackhead time, which means
always.
Oh, dude. And crackhead time is one of two times. Either calling you up 30 times in 5 minutes because they see something that you can't do. Hey, man, this guy's got a fucking kilo right now. Bro, what do you want me to do? Just go in and kick on the door because you called me? That shit isn't how the law works, my guy. We've got to do some paperwork and then we can go hit the house. Or 911 call, which you're not going to fucking do while you're in that house because they're going to make you. So we've got to worry about their safety because they'll say and do stupid crackhead shit. And the other time, so that's the fast time. That's the right now crackhead thing. The other crackhead thing is I'll be there in 10 minutes. Not hear from them in the next 2 days. And you're like, dude, you said you're going to be here 10 minutes. It's 48 hours and 10 minutes. What happened to you? I had to do some stuff. Bro, don't say do some stuff to me. I'm your fucking handler, my guy. I know you went and got high for 2 days, but like, what the fuck was up that you couldn't call me and be like, I'm going to go get stoned for 2 days? The rationality, they lose it.
Yeah, there's none, bro. So are you differentiating when you say crackhead, do you include meth heads? Because the right now urgency sounds a lot like crackheads to me. And the 2 days of losing time seems like a meth thing to me.
When I say like 2 days, I don't mean like losing time. I mean like he'll just fucking disappear and fuck off until he needs like 50 or $100, and then he calls me. Is just like, I need it now, man. My phone's going to turn off. Like, I got to feed the babies. I need this. And I'm like, bro, you could have had this money 2.5 days ago when you called me and said, talk to me in 10 minutes. They just fucking fall off until they need something from you.
It's crazy they're getting paid for snitching out there, bro. That's fucking wild.
Bro, not much. Let me tell you, most of it is freedom. I tell everybody all the time, man. I was like, you want to be free? Work with me. You think that the city of Buffalo, state of New York, gives a fuck about an 8-ball of cocaine that I can't wipe that off your fucking shit if you work for me and get me like a gun? Bro, if you tell me right now you'll get a gun, which I've done before, like I've caught guys with stems and a couple rocks in their pockets, but they're fucking fiending and they haven't had their fix in a couple days and they need it. And I'm like, dude, I'll give you your freedom right the fuck now if you go in front of a judge secretly and we talk to the judge and you say, there's a gun in this house. And there better be a fucking gun in that house, because if you lie to me, you're going to go on fucking papers for lying. And ta-da, next, you sign the warrant 3 days from then, you hit the house and there's a gun. He's got his freedom. He knows you're legit. He's legit. And then you can start paying him for stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's fucking interesting.
What's that?
That's a lot. The way that it works with CIs, bro. Because I know the dude that got me I believe he got paid like $500, but I don't know if he even got that because he was supposedly supposed to get $500, and I was supposed to give him a half ounce because that's trafficking amounts in Florida when it comes to methamphetamines. 14 grams, and he had never bought
$500 for half an ounce. It's cheap in Florida.
Well, no, that's not what I was charging him, but that's what they were giving him as a CI for a trafficking bust on me.
So that was his payout For okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah, and like with
I was like, damn,
trafficking
$500 for half an ounce?
well, no, bro. Like, so here's the thing: is in Florida, the prices are really high. But I opened a pipeline from Atlanta, and so I was getting ounces delivered to me for anywhere between 250 and 300, 350 was a lot to pay, but I could sell those things in the full ounce for like 11, 1,200 bucks, dog,
Yeah.
without having to break it up. If you break it up, you're making a shitload more. That's what was going on when I was selling down there. But it got so hot, and I knew that they were on to me, and I knew like that I probably already had at least one controlled buy. And I felt dirty about the way this dude did me, but I didn't want to believe it, dog, because I thought he would be.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd do me like that, but he never tried to buy a half ounce before. He was always the dude who'd show up. He'd say he needed a gram for 40 and he'd show up with like 23 bucks. You know what I'm saying? And he already owed me. I had fronted him a quarter ounce because he said I have these people, they're lined up. I can sell 2 8 balls right now. And I'm like, bro, I really can't afford to take this L with you right now. You already owe me a lot of money. But I did it against my better discretion because I fucking like the dude, you know? And then when he called me and told me he needed a half ounce after he had blocked my phone for 3 days when I was trying to call him to collect because he was like 2 days late paying me back, I told him, yeah, just come on over. And when he came over, I didn't realize he had a camera and a key fob that they had sent him in with and that he had cops' money. And I slapped the fucking dog shit out of this dude, bro, and held him up by his throat and told him that I would fucking kill him if he was fucking doing a control buy on me because I felt like it was a control buy and all of this and all of that. And I gave him a quarter ounce because he already owed me for a quarter ounce. And so that's what they had on me, bro. And I was like, fuck. But he refused to show up in court against me. He did the control buy to get the money, but refused to show up in court.
I don't think they need him to show up in court. As a confidential informant, he doesn't show up in court.
Well, in Florida, I think that I don't know if they had the video or not. I don't know because he wasn't able to get me on video doing everything because I got kind of wild with him. So they might have had some audio, but
you don't need video of that.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, man. He doesn't. CIs don't need to show up. You don't need to show a recording of it. In fact, sometimes we'll do like. Sometimes the film gets lost because you don't want your CI to get burnt because you're the one that's protecting your CI. You have to make sure that the district attorneys don't fucking burn your dude in their due diligence of, looking over things and then handing over the discovery to the defense, right? Because you don't want the fucking district attorney to hand over something and it's got like some nickname or something that the dude recognizes. So you'll just be like, no, CI number B21, like a bingo number, did make a buy at this date at this time. Officers searched him beforehand, searched him afterwards, gave him said money. He came back returned with just this amount of dope. And then
it never went to trial anyway. I ate.
Did you take a plea,
bro,
or you ate it?
I took a plea. So
that's how it's all done,
the thing
man.
is and they were trying to get me on within 1,000 yards of a school or 1,000 feet of a school, whichever the fuck it is. I got out on bond and I hired a private forensic detective that used to work down as a cop or a detective down in New York who retired to Florida. I paid him, I think, $580 to go scientifically measure the distance. And he did it 4 different ways and wrote me a whole fucking report for like $580. And it was like 44 feet over. So I had my attorney take that in to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor was like, fuck the extenuating, 1,000 feet of a school, a simple sale if he pleads guilty. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's run that.
What is that?
No
That's
mandatory minimum.
It's like a misdemeanor, right? Like like the maximum's like a year.
No, I mean it's definitely a felony, but they wrapped it up in. I had a couple other charges, but at that point in time I was working for multiple treatment centers. And I had all these people from the treatment community vouching for me. So they ended up giving me 2 years of house arrest, 2 years of probation. And I just got my fucking paperwork from Florida saying that my probation was terminated on the 18th of this month. So finally off of it after 4 years. I'm a free man
Yay.
for a minute. I got to go turn myself in on a DUI from 2014. So
No,
we'll
I
see
know.
how that turns out. I'll probably go right back on probation for like a year. So
A year for a Dewey?
yeah, I mean, I think that's the minimum for the probationary part of it. I've been running for 11 years, dog. I don't know how mad they're going to
Just
be.
see if there's a fine and fucking pay it.
Oh, bro, I would absolutely pay whatever.
Take a loan out. Take a loan out and be like, here's 50 grand. Please, please just make it stop.
I don't think I can bribe prosecutors.
That's not a
or
bribe. I'm
judges.
saying I'll pay 50 grand right now. It's whatchamacallit. It's basically a plea.
Restitution.
Yeah, restitution. Yeah.
Let me get a financial restitution instead of a probation. But probation isn't hard, bro, because they're gonna have me on unsoup probation. Here is what they're gonna do, and I just have to email in every month. That's all I've had to do since I got to Oregon. I met with my in person with my PO twice, and he was cool as hell, bro. Like that dude was cool as shit. The first time I went in there, I went in with my certificates, from graduating from all of the treatment centers because I did inpatient, I did, sober living, I did outpatient, intensive outpatient. I pursued healing myself and learning how to navigate recovery wholeheartedly. And then I took my certificates for being a recovery coach, peer support recovery specialist, and smart recovery facilitator in with me. And he was like, "What the fuck are we even doing here, guy? Like, you seem rehabilitated." And I was like, "Yeah, I own my own recovery coaching business." And so he was like, "All right, I'll see you next month, dog." And the next month when I came in, he said, "This is a waste of both of our time." He said, "I'm going to put you on unsupervised." I said, "Okay, cool, man." And then we spent the rest of the half hour talking about like prisons. He's like, "Did you do time at OSP?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, that was my favorite place." And he'd be like, "Oh, did you go to fire camp?" I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "They shut it down." He was just a cool dude, man. Like, I find that I get along really well with law enforcement now that they're not having to chase me down and beat me up.
I mean, to find that with everybody that stops chasing you down and beating you up.
That's fair.
You know?
That's fair. I mean, when we met, as soon as we got past the cavity search, we hit it off perfectly.
Dude, I knew I could bullshit with you the second that you showed up when I went to pick you up in the car at the hotel. They were like, "You're gonna go see JD." I'm like, "Who's that?" They're like, "Look him up." And I was like, "Who the fuck is JD DeLay?" And then my wife knew who you were, and so then she's like, "Oh, he's done this and that," and I'm like, "Oh, bro, I want to bust his balls the fucking second I see him, but I also don't want to like insult him and make him think that like I'm this fucking fake bravado bullshit cop guy." So I was like, I'll eat some shit for a little bit. Yeah.
I'm Irish, bro. You can't offend me, bro. It's impossible. I'm Irish.
Dude, I saw let me tell you this. I see you as a friend. I don't know any of the shit that you do on the internet. Like, I see you like every once in a while, and you send me some of the things that you do, and I laugh at it, at the shit that you send me, but I don't watch any of your shit. I don't know. I just haven't. But I enjoy you as a friend. So when I saw you on a short, there was a YouTube short, or no, it was a clip of a larger podcast you were on, where it was you and the skinny kind of white guy talking about your prison time and how you were with the Irish. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's my friend." That's my friend. Not like, "Oh, I can't wait to see what he's talking about." It was funny. It was like how my friends see me on the internet sometimes. They're like, "Oh, I know that guy." But you were talking about being a shot caller for the Irish. I don't know any of the white gangs in the prison system besides the fucking white power boys. The Aryan Brotherhood, and there's like the biker gangs that are in it. Otherwise, like, I don't know. When you were like, "Oh, I'm with the Irish," I was like, of course they have a gang, but I haven't really heard of anything about an Irish gang. So I wanted to ask you about that.
Really clear, because so my very first podcast that I did with my buddy Ian Bick, I don't know if it was him or Johnny Mitchell that you saw from, but
he was a smaller, skinnier guy.
Glasses, looks like a pedophile.
No, I don't. This one didn't have glasses.
Okay, that it was probably Johnny Mitchell. So I've never used the term shot caller because in my gang, it isn't fitting, bro. I had the keys to my car, but everything that we did, we put to a vote.
Hmm.
I was the one who would bring it to the table and we would put it to a vote.
How
But
democratic
like
of you.
I feel like shot caller is like degrading to my brothers that I was, involved with.
Yeah,
Like I'm
like
like
they're your
telling them
bitch. Yeah, and yeah, and that's not the way that it
I
is.
don't like that, bro. I don't like that because you're already having to like establish, okay, so we have to do some action, and a couple guys are gonna have to go sit in solitary confinement for 6 months. And I know how that is because I've been that dude who's done that. And it sucks, bro. So I always want to put everything to a vote. And every time I would bring something to the table like that, one of the homies would be like, I got it. Let me do it. We wouldn't even have to fucking vote on who would do it. People would volunteer. I'm not above any of those dudes, bro. Those dudes were all my brothers. They were my equals. We weren't, you know, it was run more like just a family. And one person was just the spokesman or something. That's what they call a key holder. But Ian, the first podcast I ever did, named it. And I said that in the podcast. And he's like, okay, cool. Prison Gang Shot Caller, JD DeLay, the title, right? Right across the thumbnail and title.
Yeah, I think that was
So,
exactly it.
yeah. So, but yeah, when I went in to prison, I was not in a gang. I had not been in a gang on the streets. I didn't have the Irish tattoo, but I did have the clover, right? And that one clover, or no, it was this one. It was the shamrock on my hand over here. I didn't have the Celtic cross yet. When I went in, and they ran me through intake. They have an intake process where they look at all your tattoos.
Oh, they
see
try to
if you
see
need
which
to go
gangs
to
you're with. They don't want to put you where there's somebody that's gonna fuck you up. Yeah.
that type of thing. Yeah. And they're like, okay, so are you Irish Pride or are you Aryan Brotherhood? And I was like, what do you mean, bro? I'm white. I'm not in a gang. I tried playing like dumb and shit. And they're
I'm
like, yeah.
sir,
And I'm
I'm
like,
white. I am not in a gang.
I'm white.
How dare you, sir?
I don't participate in those street activities.
I am an
I'm
individual,
just
sir.
here in prison for stealing cars. And so they labeled me as Irish Pride right off the gate. So when I went to Snake River, which is like the gladiator school of the Oregon prison system, they immediately started selling me up with Irish Pride dudes. And I was like, yo, these dudes are pretty fucking cool, man. Like these dudes are really legit. They're not they don't do the white supremacist thing, and I don't do the white supremacist thing. It was
A lot of boys from
like I
Boston
said,
in it.
more no, not in Oregon, bro. It's just a bunch of Oregon fucking Irish dudes, bunch of fucking leprechaun looking motherfuckers, bro. The first dude they put me in there with was one of the higher ups. He was in there for his uncle had taken some really inappropriate pictures of his little sister, and there was some stuff going on there. It was a pedophile thing, and he tried to tell everybody, and nobody would listen to what his uncle was doing. So he got his uncle to meet him at a bonfire out in the woods, and he ended up killing him and chopping him up.
Cain Velasquez.
And what's that?
Said
Yeah,
give him the good old Cain Velasquez.
but he actually got it done at 17 years old. And at 17 years old, they gave him 2 life sentences for it. So he's still serving time, even though he's completely changed his mindset, even though he's a completely different person, even though his brain was not fully formed yet, and even though he was doing it in protection of his little sister.
Bro, I'd let him
If you
out if
could
he was the
tell,
same
I'm-
fucking kid he was when he was 17. He fucking off the fucking kid toucher. I have
He did
no problems with that.
He did some hero shit, bro, in my opinion. But I'm trying to be careful about how I use my words because he does have a parole hearing coming up. And, him being in there for over 20 years, we just want to see him get the opportunity to have a life on the streets, man.
So he's been in
in
since
there
he was
over 20
17. He's
years.
getting out, or he's got a parole hearing at 37.
Yeah, I think he's 39 now. And he got denied at his last parole hearing. He's done all the work, bro. Like literally, when I send this dude books, what he asks for is books about like things like cognitive behavioral therapy, recovery, stuff that's like self-improvement shit is all he does. He has a great job. He's learned to do welding. He's a welder in there, in the industries building at the furniture shop at OSP because they manufacture a lot of furniture that they sell on the streets at Oregon State Penitentiary. So, I'm hoping to see him get out. But, um, there's a lot of the dudes that are Irish Pride. I can name off like three of them right now that either work at, run treatment centers, or own and operate sober living residences, um, business owners, have families, bought houses, doing really, really good. Like, we don't take that shit to the streets. It's not a street, like, let's get out and have a criminal enterprise type of thing. And that was part of what made me feel comfortable joining, is that they were stressing that this is not white supremacist and this is not something you take to the streets and make a criminal enterprise. When you get out, we don't want you back. We'll probably beat you up if we see you come back, because we want you out there doing good. And that appealed to me, bro, because in my heart, I really wanted to get out and do good. And I had every intention of it. My follow through sucked because I wasn't working a program, and I was an addict, dog. I needed a program, and it took me a long time to understand that I needed to submit to a program and be willing to get help and submit myself to other people's authority enough to get the help I needed.
Interesting. Yeah, because Irish Pride is never like, I've never seen it outside. Well, first of all, I've never heard of it. And then I've never heard of it outside of the prison system. So I was like, I mean, Bloods, Crips, gangs. Bloods are all in prison, and then they're run from in prison, and then they keep it going on the outside. But the shot callers are still behind bars for the most part. I mean, you got some old heads that are out there like running stuff too, but a lot of guys still take orders from dudes that are like locked up. But I've never heard of like Irish Pride out in the streets doing shenanigans.
Nah, dude. And you don't like, there's, in Portland for, Irish Pride, there's, every year there's like a homie cookout where everybody, and they bring their families, and, there's kids running around, and it's a giant cookout, and everybody's cooking burgers and hanging out and just catching up and shit. But we're not encouraging anybody to go back to fucking prison, bro. The last thing we want to see is our brothers back in captivity. It fucking sucks in prison, bro. And like, I know just so you know, part of what I do is I talk about true crime, I talk about recovery, and I talk about prison. But there was such a big thing with these prison content creators when I first started out. It was like trending or whatever. But I had a different take on it, man. Everybody was like kind of glamorizing prison and everything.
Dude.
And I would talk about how much it fucking sucks, dog, and how I don't want to see anybody go there. And, I would tell some of the scary, violent stories about it, but I would also measure that with the reality of how lonely, how fucking boring, how fucking dehumanizing and all that shit is, and how it's your own fault if you end up there, dog. Like, you don't have to go there. Just don't live a certain fucking way.
Dude, let me tell you, I tell people, when you say like, kind of like you earned your spot there if you go to prison, the amount of people that I've like met as like a police officer, when I'm off duty and I'm hanging out with like a group of friends, and I meet a new group of people, and somebody comes over, they're like, oh, you're a policeman, oh cool, that's interesting, tell me about that, blah blah. The amount of people who have absolutely no idea how hard it is to get into prison blows my mind every time. Like, it's so fucking hard to get into prison, especially in New York. It's so hard for us to put people in prison. It's so hard. Like, and I'm not saying that programs don't work, right? You're obviously a great example of programs working. Are we both also not naive enough to understand that there are fucking intentional assholes that try to get and weasel their way out of every single thing that they do, so then they don't have to go to prison? And also, is there not New York State trying to say, I don't want to spend any more money on another body in a cell. I don't want this person to go to prison, so I've got to spend $50,000 a year on this individual just to sit behind bars and offer us nothing. Like, it's so hard to get put into prison. They were going to put you on probation in a heartbeat. They're going to downplay your shit and plea you out at something so much lower than the original felonies that you were charged with. The amount of times that I've charged guys with like 5 or 6 felonies, like C and D felonies, something pretty heavy. And then they get like, we're going to knock it down to 1E felony, which is just above a fucking misdemeanor. And you're like, all right. And then what do they get? They get fucking 5 years probation, 3 years probation. You went from 3 like 5-year mandatories for 3 of them to 1 charge just above a misdemeanor, no jail time served, just probation. And that's like a lot. A lot.
I think one distinguishing factor that you mentioned in there real early was New York. It's the same thing in Oregon. I think a lot of these, and I'm not trying to make this a political issue, but it is. A lot of the bluer states have this soft on crime mentality. I got so many felonies before I went to prison. They waited. I had multiple felonies before they started stacking UUMVs, which is unauthorized use of a motor vehicle.
Yeah.
When I went to prison, they had to stack 3 of them to give me 39 months. So it was 3 stolen cars with 3 high-speed chases, felony elude vehicle, misdemeanor elude by foot. So it was, a stack of charges that sent me to prison just to get me in for 39 months. And I don't think that soft on crime does people who are stuck in that lifestyle any favors, dog. Like, I know that they want to be, oh, we're dehumanizing them. Like, literally, if I would have the first time that I got caught, if they would have given me like a decent chunk of time, it might have done something better for me. I do not believe in this soft on crime bullshit. I believe in programs. I 100% believe that if you have a drug problem, that we should get you some programs and allow you to turn it around. And yes, I understand that there's people who use that to manipulate the system because they don't want to go to prison. I myself have done it.
Yeah, that's
I've
everything.
taken drug court.
Yeah,
I've taken drug court and tried to figure out how I could just, get high 2 days a week, dog. I've gone and, put myself in treatment because I was facing charges and I wanted to be able to tell the judge so it would look good, but I will say this, every time that I was in a program, even if it wasn't the last time that I used, I gained knowledge and information and experience that comes into play every day in my recovery to this day. To this day, I was able to better myself. And even if it wasn't the time that actually locked it in and got me to the almost 6 years of sobriety and recovery that I have today, still those things helped me when I was actually ready. I think a lot of the things that I do as a recovery coach, as a sponsor, as somebody who makes content about recovery is I'm planting seeds. And eventually those seeds will come to fruit when it's in that person's time. When they're actually ready to change. And I don't take it personally when people disregard shit. I know that maybe they don't take it to heart right now because I've done that. There was a long time ago, somebody told me, if you want self-esteem, do some esteemable shit, dummy. And at the time, I wasn't ready to hear that and follow through on it. But then when I actually was, that advice changed my life, bro. I made being of service to other people like a lifestyle. And that's what I've built my recovery on. But I heard it years before I was ready to put it into action. So I believe that programs work and programs help. The thing is that state mandated programs are fucking hot dog water, bro. Like the places that the court's going to send you to the majority of the time is going to be just the most trash fucking cookie cutter program. It's all about money, dog. And as soon as you walk in there, they look at you like you're a fucking piece of shit on the ground. The first treatment center that I went to that actually worked for me, and I ended up graduating, not just the inpatient. All I had to do was outpatient. I stayed for the intensive outpatient of my own free will, and I ended up working there for 2 years later on. It was the first place I ever went to get help, where when I walked in the door, they looked at me like a human being. And the lady behind the counter said, "Oh, honey, are you okay?" And I was like, and she's like, "No, I know you're not okay. You don't have to say it, honey. Like, what do you need? Do you need some water?" Like, I was nervous as fuck. And I had to like walk there in the Florida heat. And she got me in the back room with a counselor, and that counselor looked at me, and within 3 minutes, bro, I was sobbing like a fucking baby. She told me, "Look, I know that you're going through it right now, and I know that you're having a hard time loving yourself, but we're gonna love you until you can love yourself." And I just never had nobody say no shit like that to me before, bro, and it just shattered all my walls. And
See, that
you
shit
know, I
would
haven't.
that would make me build up a wall so fucking fast. I hate that shit.
Well, I was
I
already
mean, not
broken,
for
dog.
you, that's awesome. And obviously, different strokes, different folks. I'm not shitting on you. I don't want you to take it that way. I'm saying, but like that's yeah, right. That's that touchy feely shit. I can't stand it. If you were to look at me and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you're a fucking piece of shit, and this is why you need to fucking fix it. You ready to fix it? I'll help you fix it." And I'd be like, "God damn it, you're right." That's the thing. I
And
like
that's the other.
here it is. Fucking just give it to me. Rip off the band-aid. I'm a big boy, and then I can take it. The second that somebody starts to go like, "Are you okay? Are you?" But I'm like, ugh. I get grossed out. I feel like it's just not genuine. You know what I mean? I feel like
Well,
it's
and
an act.
that's the other side of it, bro. Like with her, it was completely genuine. She was somebody who had been a junkie in the streets for 30 years, you
Mhm.
know, and she just had a soft, compassionate soul. So I knew it was authentic. But the other side of it was, you know, the residential that I went to, because I did every fucking thing I could to get my shit together.
Yeah.
The residential I went to was an all men's residential, and exactly what you were saying. They were like, "You're full of shit. You're on some stupid shit. You can't think for shit right now. Your brain's all fucked up because you've been on the streets doing drugs, not sleeping, not eating. Shut up. You sound retarded. You need to tighten up and don't even think about shit. Just do what we say for a little bit." You know, like that. They ran it more like that, and so that was the other end of it that I kind of needed. And I ended up being a manager at that sober living too for about 2 years. And my style of so I was a personal trainer at Gold's Gym for a while, and there was two styles of training that we would do. There's certain clients, and you know after you've been personal training for a while, there's people who respond better to positive reinforcement, and then there's people who respond better to the negative reinforcement. Like I had a couple yeah, right. I had a married couple that would come in, and the female, I'd be like, "Glory, you're doing a great job today. Look at you, girl. You go, you get it. Yeah, no, you could definitely have a cup of wine with your dinner tonight. You earned it, honey." And then her husband, I'd be like, "You're a fat piece of shit, dog. This is why your wife doesn't look at you. Push the fucking weights. This is why your wife looks at me more than she looks at you, you fucking piece of shit." And he'd be like, "Oh," and he'd get it. Kind of the same with recovery, and my recovery style is kind of my recovery coaching business is called Hardcore Recovery Coaching. I only work with men because I don't feel it's appropriate to build trauma bonds with women in
Yeah,
early
that gets
recovery.
messy.
And even if my intentions are appropriate, I'm a married man. There's too much that could go wrong. I don't allow myself into situations where shit like that could even be,
Yeah.
you know,
Don't
even
even
in
put
somebody
yourself in the
else's mind
situation.
thoughts.
I'm with you.
Fuck
Why
no, dog.
even tempt
Fuck
it?
no.
Just
Fuck
no.
no. I'm not gonna have no weird allegations. You're not getting in a room alone with me, dog. I'm
Oh,
just not
bro.
doing it.
I feel you there. I feel you there.
Yeah. But most of my dude clients, you know, I recovery's mind, body, and spirit. So, you know, I'm not gonna dictate to anybody what their spirituality is gonna be. I can, you know, let them know what my experience is and shit like that. But that's deeply fucking personal, and you're gonna have to find that. And we can talk about it every step of the way, but like everybody has to find spirituality for themselves, and that's not something you can write out a plan for, dog. But you know, physical, I put dudes on workouts. I put dudes on meal plans. You're gonna fucking eat right. You're gonna take care of your body. You're gonna exercise. You know, you're either too fucking fat or you're too skinny, you're out of shape, you've been using, you know what I'm saying? When your body starts to feel better, your mind feels better, your spirit feels better. And then, you know, for the mind, we go through a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy. So a lot of that is more hardcore shit. And that's where I really landed, and I really like it. And I've seen the best fucking results because dudes often don't do well with the whole, you know, I'm going to love you through this shit, except at the very beginning because I walked off the streets, bro, from coming off the hardest run of my life, bro, and like I had tried to kill myself multiple times. Um, you know, I had just gotten released from the jail down there in South Florida after the Secret Service had swooped me up, bro. And I was just in rugged shape. Plus, my mind was a bag of dicks, bro. You know what being on meth every day, all day for years straight does to you?
Well,
You've
chemically, your
seen it.
brain's got to be all fucked up so that way you can't feel happiness like the way that other people would normally feel happiness or other emotions. Like Robin Williams
Well,
did
and
so
look,
much coke, he couldn't be happy unless he was on stage anymore because
yeah,
it burnt out his dopamine receptors. So if he wasn't like
yeah.
performing and getting that dopamine dump, like a natural dopamine dump, he'd just be sitting at home watching TV. He'd be miserable. And then he ended up,
I,
offing himself.
See, I don't do coke, but I'll snort a couple Viagra until I get a really stiff throat. Never mind. But also another thing you need to understand about people that are addicts, bro, is like we atrophy our development mentally, emotionally. So you might
So
be
once
like,
you
I
start
was
it,
in
that's kind of the mindset that you're in
once
for
you, yeah,
when you
once
pick
you
up.
start, you're stunning your growth, homie. Um, so I was a 40-year-old in like a 14-year-old or a 14-year-old in a 40-year-old's body when I finally sobered up, bro. You know, and in prison, that's what it is, dog. Like it's a whole bunch of traumatized kids who had bad shit happen to them is the main common denominator of dudes that you find in prison. I'm not saying this is any type of excuse because there's consequences to your fucking actions.
Yeah,
Own up,
the reality is the
take your lumps.
reality. I got you.
The reality is the majority of dudes in there were traumatized as kids. It atrophied their development. They started numbing out. They went down a fucked up road and then they land in prison and it's a bunch of fucking beat up kids inside who are trying to act the toughest. They're all trying to be the hardest dude on the yard. And I had that epiphany sitting in my cell one night. I'm like, man, this is fucking pathetic, bro. This is played. Everybody here needs some fucking therapy, bro. And they have counselors, but your counselor is literally, they call it a counselor so that they can tell the outside world. Well, every inmate gets a counselor. The counselor, they don't talk to you about shit, bro. They just are like, yeah, so they determine your classification. They can change your fucking security level. But like, that's it, bro. They don't do no shit for you. They might send you to a shitty program, like one of those programs that doesn't do shit. They run you through like MRT, moral recognition therapy, which is absolute fucking hot dog water. It's just trash, bro. It's not science-based at all, and it's stupid as fuck. They're like, we're gonna teach you morals, you guys, and you have some fucking lame in a fucking button-up shirt who's never committed a crime, been to the gutter, or done a day in his life. So nobody's gonna listen to a fuck thing he says. We're all like, okay, Ned Flanders, suck a fucking dick in the back, bitch.
All right, diddly Italy.
All diddly. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for our criminal justice system and the ways that it's not being effective. I would like to see a whole lot more here. I would like to see more programs, but I think we need better programs. We need peer-based programs. Just like I would like for, first responders to have more peer support, because I think that you're not like, I don't see you talking to some fucking lame who has a degree on his wall and he's never been in the streets and he's never been through no real shit and you can smell it on him. You could just smell the pussy on the dude.
Yeah.
But you might be more willing to talk to somebody who's been in the trenches. And
I just like to talk to professionals. So I got PTSD and some other shit from when I deployed. And so I would go to a veteran psych, and it was a woman. She never served a day in her life, but like she would deal with guys that had PTSD and trauma like I had. And I was
someone to have been fucked up like me, bro.
I just like somebody that's a professional. Hey, are you good at your, like, because I can smell that out, right? You and I can smell out frauds, but I feel like you and I can also smell out people who know what they're talking about, right? So when I would talk to my shrink, I knew that she was qualified. She would ask the right questions. I'd blather on, and she'd lead me so then I would find the conclusion myself. Like, I'd start off the instant with, like, what's bothering you, and just tell me what's up. And I'm like, this, and this are bothering me. She's like, okay, tell me what's setting you off about this bothering you. Let's figure it out. And then I'd go through it. And within like the end of like an hour, 45 minutes, I'd have come to the different conclusions as to what my triggers were that were setting me off and like how to combat that. And most of the time, like I'm fairly self-aware. and like the things that you said, like, the workout regimen, like having a really good like physical workout regimen, so then physically you're healthy. It, dude, it makes your mental health so much better. And but yeah, it wasn't. I don't really need somebody that's been like walked in my shoes. I just need to know that if I ask you a question or I'm going down some sort of path, you can realize where I'm going. You can change direction. You can adjust, and then you can lead me out of it to like some sort of logical conclusion where then I can have something to follow at home for like whenever something pops off.
Yeah, maybe it's because people in prison and people with addiction issues have a defiance to authority. So maybe it's more based for that. But I think if we had more peer-based support, like I've worked a few times going into the PACT program in Lone Oak County Jail in Arkansas with one of my favorite people, bro, Sheriff John Staley. Amazing dude. He built this program out there with a dude named Jimmy McGill, and they literally have ex-addicts that were ex-inmates that came in and started this treatment program, and they're saving people anywhere from 40 to 60-year sentences. Some people have lower end sentences that are getting in, but these are repeat offenders that nothing else worked for.
Yeah.
And they're giving them an opportunity to go through this 6 month in their 6 month on the streets program to avoid their sentences. And their recidivism rate amongst the group of people that have graduated this program is like so low, bro. And I'm actually going back to Arkansas in a couple months to speak with the sheriff in front of the entire sheriff's association for the state. I'm going to be talking to every sheriff in the state of Arkansas about my story and about why I think it's important that they, we're trying to sell them on putting this treatment program in every county jail in the state of Arkansas, because I think a lot of people have realized we're not going to arrest our way out of the drug problem in this country.
Weed's going legal, man. Obviously, we're not. People want it.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it is. Who do you want to give the money to? The cartels or the government?
So understanding that like the majority of the people in prison are coming home. And who do you want as a neighbor, dog? Do you want somebody who went in traumatized, fucked up, and violent to come out more traumatized, more fucked up, and more violent? Or do you want somebody who's actually been able to work on their shit, had some assistance, given some job skills is a great thing. There were most dudes in prison that I met barely knew how to use fucking silverware properly. They don't know how to fill out their taxes. And a lot of the time, like, they just have no real life skills because a lot of them didn't have parents that showed them that shit. I don't think a lot of people understand the level of disadvantage that some of these people are at. And I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm just saying that if we get them these simple things, they're more likely to be successful, and then they're not going to be in your house fucking stealing your fucking safe or stealing your fucking car or any of that shit. And then there's people that I don't think you can rehabilitate. People who could get their dick hard for kids, I don't think you can fix it, dog. I think we need to take them behind the courthouse after they get their give them a trial, give them an appeal. They get hit on that appeal, one appeal, double tap the back of the head behind the courthouse, bro. Put them out of society's misery. Don't let them hurt no more kids.
Dude, I was trying to, I can't talk about the investigation too much because it's still ongoing. I wrote a warrant for this guy in his phone. So he's about to have a rude awakening. And while trying to see if I could find this guy's dating profile, I created a dating profile for myself as a woman. And then my plan was to be like, all right, cool, I'm going to find this guy. And then I was like, you know what? I'm already on this dating app. Why don't I portray myself as like a 14-year-old girl? Let's do that. I was on the dating app for 2 days, and I've got one on the hook.
Oh, I'm surprised that you've only got one, bro. Like
I only spent a couple hours on it. I've been too busy recently writing up warrants and shit for like dudes that have already done the deed. Like, not to say that like hunting these guys isn't a good thing, but like I'm trying to put felons that have committed the crime already behind bars. And if I spend my time on hunting the guys on social media, it's all going to be attempted and it's going to be a misdemeanor, right? So at the moment, which sucks, right? But it's the reality of it. I have to prioritize. So at the moment, I'm booked up with the felonies that have already happened, and I've got to work that before I can start pushing a little bit more time into the proactive hunting phase of it, which I'm actually very excited for. Can you imagine me showing up when like you're trying to get with like a 12-year-old girl, and I'm like, hi, with my fucking mustache, and just be like, hey, are you here to see Jessica?
Well, here's the thing, bro. And me and you and Nick have talked about this a little bit, but I would love to do a fucking show where we're like next generation Chris Hansen. And since the last time that I hung out with you in Texas, I got to go out with Chris Hansen and just hang out the whole multiple day sting in Blount County, Alabama. Hang out with the sheriff's department. I got to go to their operations briefing at the sheriff's department.
Alabama then, just does it to themselves, don't they?
Oh, just kicking it with the OG Chris Hansen. And the way they have it set up though in Alabama is they have everything. By the moment that they pull up to the house, they've already got them on two Class A felonies.
Yep.
So they're already like they've got them on human trafficking and they've got them on traveling for the purpose of meeting a minor for sex. And so they've already got them the second they pull up. They don't have to do anything else, bro. And the laws there, they also have what's called Araya's law. And Araya was a little girl who was raped and killed by a dude who was let out on bail while he was facing charges for raping a kid. And so now if you have those types of charges, they give you an Araya's law hearing and you don't get any bond. So these dudes literally sit in fucking jail until they go to prison, and they're breaking them off 15, 20 years in prison out there for this shit. Those dudes you're seeing out in Alabama getting broke off by Chris Hansen, they're putting them motherfuckers away, dog. They're doing that shit for real. And the other people he's working with is, Grady Judd out there in Polk County, Florida.
Is that the guy that brings up all the photos all the time?
Yeah, dog. He's the dude who's like, we're going to shoot at you. We're going to shoot you a lot. We'll be able to read the paper through you. You'll be graveyard dead. I love that dude, man.
Classic law, man, great. Dude. Just lay it on the line. Hey, we all agreed. Here's some things that we have to follow. If you, one, don't want to follow them, you're going to go to jail. And two, if you don't want to follow them and you want to, do something additionally stupid, you're going to go to jail for a long time. Maybe not wake up.
He's like, if you pull a gun on us, we're going to shoot you a lot. There was one guy that they shot 58 times, and the news came and they're like interviewing Grady Judd, and they're like, why did they have to shoot him 58 times? He's like, because they ran out after 58 bullets. Any more stupid questions? I was like, yeah, that's
dude, people don't understand.
If I pull a gun on a cop, I expect they're going to shoot back, bro, period.
Like, people don't understand what a gunfight's like, man.
No, I do. I've been in gunfights, dog. Not with police, but I've been in gunfights on the streets multiple times, bro. It's kill or be killed.
Yeah.
See?
So I'm not going to get shot because I decided to just like wait 5 seconds after I fired 2 rounds. It's like, no, I'm going to keep going until he stops or until I run out, and then I got to get cover and reload.
And that's how you make sure that you make it home to your fucking family at night, dog.
And it sounds so cliche, but like that's it. Like I'm not gonna die to a felon that chose to break everything and then ignore every common sense thing that he's seen on television and PBS and the radio and the TV show Cops for 30 fucking years. Like it's not my fault at that point.
It's not, dude. It's not at all, bro. And it's dead ass simple, man. If you make it about it's me or you, I'm getting home every single time, homie.
Yeah.
That's just what it is, bro. Like, don't put me in that position. I don't ever go out just looking to kill people. But if you put me in that position, that's where it's going to be. You know, that's always been my position as a criminal, as a law-abiding citizen. I still stand to that standard. If you make it, either I'm gonna die or you're gonna die. You are gonna be that one, dog. Your mom is gonna cry. She's gonna put you on a t-shirt with those ugly ass angel wings. She's gonna be fucking crying around a fucking closed casket.
Dude,
That's what it's gonna be, dog.
have you seen the casket wraps?
What? No, shut up. There's
Dude!
casket wraps now?
Dude, you know how you wrap a car with like a wrap, you know, and then you can have like weird designs
yeah.
and cool shit on it, right?
Exactly where my mind went.
Bro, there's coffin wraps where they've got like the dude in like his Yeezys, like chilling, doing like the homie squat with like, you know, the fingers up, the like, you know, like the Hispanic gang members that are always like, hey, you know? Yeah, like, and there's like 3 different versions of him like looking up, and like one of them with like a kid, and he's always got his kindergarten graduation cap on because that's the only grade that he graduated. Dude, they've got coffin wraps. I've seen them on TikTok. Hysterical.
That shit is fire, son.
Bro, I can't
That
even
shit is
imagine what
fire.
mine would be.
Yeah. I don't know anybody who's getting coffins anymore, bro. Everybody's just getting cremated. I've lost
Yeah.
more, like my fucking contacts on my phone, bro. Like if I were to go through this, like there's more people that are dead now than that are alive in that bitch, bro. From the time I spent in Florida working in recovery and the time I spent in Florida being a fucking junkie,
ODs?
everybody, fentanyl killed everybody, dog.
Yeah.
Fentanyl killed everybody.
My
You know,
city
people
was
that
on
don't
a
even fuck with fentanyl.
yeah. My city was on an HBO documentary. It was like Cops, but HBO, where they did like a deep
Mhm.
dive into like the heroin epidemic, and they interviewed and rode around with 4 guys that I was very tight with that were in my my unit at the time. We had a specialized patrol unit that went after gangs, guns, and drugs, and they rode along with them, and they were like, "So what's it like?" And we're like, "Dude, fentanyl is fucking up every poor white or black person and Hispanic person. Like, just it's not a race based thing. Like crack was like all over like the African American community. Like fentanyl was just in everything, and everybody was dropping. Show
Yeah.
up to calls, and people would be, dude. I didn't know people could go blue. I didn't know people could go blue until I was a rookie cop, and I was in South Buffalo, and we pull up, and Uncle Chris is supposed to watch the kids while mom and dad like go out and grab some groceries. And Uncle Chris went in the bathroom to go shoot up, and he had fentanyl. And mom and dad come home, and they're like, "Where's Uncle Chris?" And they're like, "He's in the bathroom." And they like look in the bathroom, and he's dead on the toilet. Call 911. We rush over just a little too late. He's blue, like a blueberry. And we're like, holy shit. And then one of the, God, we're so callous. One of the medics was just like, hey, we've got to try and like save him anyway, even though I know he's dead. Like, there's no way we can bring him back with Narcan. I know he's gone. We've done this enough. And I'm like, okay. So what are you asking me? He's like, do you want to watch us do the something gun? And I was like, what's the something gun? And he's like, we drill and we inject Narcan directly into your bone, into the bone marrow.
No fucking way,
Yeah.
dude.
And then so instead of the vein, they inject it into your fucking bone marrow, and it's supposed to be like 10 times more effective or something. It's like a last ditch effort, but it's like super, super effective. And I'm like, let me see it. And so this guy's fucking purple, and he's been gone. There's no oxygen in this guy for at least 10 minutes. He's brain dead. And they're like, well, we got to try it anyway. Like, they just have to. It just is what it is. Do you want to come and see it? I was like, okay. So he fucking zzz, like that fast zzz, into his shin bone. Oh. And then fucking just hook up an IV, a little squirter to it. Just put it on. Into his shin bone. Zzz, drill it back out. Still dead. They're like, all right, well, take him downtown.
Never heard of that. And I distribute Narcan. I've been doing Narcan distribution for the past 3.5 years. I got so tired of my friends dying and people dying. I never leave the house without Narcan. I worked with Sheriff Chitwood out there in Volusia County, Volusia County Sheriff's Office, distributing Narcan in the hood. I've never heard of that. You just put me up on game. I didn't know you could
This was
shoot it into fucking bone marrow, bro.
this is
That's
like
crazy.
I was a rookie 11, 12 years ago. Like I was on the streets, but it was after the academy. So it was like 11, 12 years ago. Yeah. It's like a small drill. It's just a small drill. And it just, zzz.
Yeah.
And then what
But at
sticks
that
into
point,
your
they've got to
shin?
be brain dead, right? Like,
Oh, that's the amount of
if
oxygen
it
that
requires that.
he's dead. He was just
Yeah.
straight up dead by the time we got to him. But they were still trying to, there is a check the box, if you will, for how you deal with overdoses within a certain amount of time, and or if that time is unknown, right? So if you're like, if it's past 20 minutes, he's dead, right? But if somebody shows up and you're like, is it past 20 minutes? You're like, I don't know. We've only been home for 5, but we've been gone for an hour. And you're like, well, we're going to take the chance anyway, because what's a little bit more of drilling Narcan compared to somebody's life, right? But yeah, and the thing that sticks out that they drill into your shin or bone, whichever bone you want. For him, it was his shin, which looked extremely painful. The end that they like took off of the drill, the bit that was stuck in him, looked like a basketball inflator that you stick into like a bike pump. It's like the best way I
Yeah.
can put it, because that's what was sticking out of him. And then they took a syringe and they fucking screwed it onto the basketball inflator that was in his shin and then shot him up. Now maybe it's not as effective as Narcan is anymore, but I would think that that's still out there and available, especially when you get like
Well,
those
shit, bro. I mean,
overdoses where people like need like 5 shots of Narcan.
what the street people were doing before we had Narcan availability, right? Like,
Throwing
bro,
throwing
I've
them in
seen
ice water.
well, throwing them in ice water, it works sometimes. It's much more effective to stuff ice cubes up their ass. You ever fucking had to stuff ice cubes up your buddy's asshole, fucking trying to keep him alive after he fucking, and by the time they fucking, most of the time when they OD, they shit their pants. So you're having to pull their fucking shitty pants down and stuff ice cubes up their already shat ass, bro.
I'm almost certain that that's a myth. Like that's an urban legend that people do that you're not supposed to do.
I've seen it work once.
I mean, I think that the shock of the cold is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
it's not like shoving them up their ass is like gonna save them. Like it's just the shock of the cold. I'll give you an
Shock.
example.
Yeah. Because
Um,
I've seen people wake up from having a propane torch put to their bottoms of their feet too.
oh,
It
yeah,
shocks the system.
it's the pain. So that's why you see like sternum rubs and shit. Um, what was it? There was my buddy was responded to an overdose, and they were like, she's fucking overdosing. Let's throw her in the tub and put cold water on her. And so she was still out of it and like drifting out, ODing, right? And the coppers there. It's before we got Narcan for everybody, and the coppers are there and they're like, all right, we let the fire know. Firemen have Narcan because they've got medical equipment and shit. They're going to be here in a second. And my buddy says that the firemen walked up. They know it's an OD. And they're like, is she responsive? And they're like, not really. The sternum rubs aren't doing much, but that's it. He's like, okay. Puts on the glove mid-walk, just like takes a knee and just slaps the shit out of her right across her face. Just like, is she up? No? Wham! Just all in one motion in the bathroom. And just just smacked the life right back into her. And she's like, pow! With that purple nitrile glove. And it's like, ah! And they're like,
Just gasping
responsive.
for breath.
What's that?
Yeah. Just immediate gasp for breath.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. So I like I said, I worked at men's recovery residences, like sober houses, but we had one of them, we had a 142 person campus. We had we had taken over a whole block with apartment buildings and houses that we had turned in down in downtown Daytona Beach. And there was one overdose that we had where dude, a lot of these dudes, they'll go pretend they're taking a shower and go in there and do some dope.
Yeah.
And this dude, we got the call and I ran over there and I had 2 Narcans and, immediately someone else calls 911. I kick in the bathroom door. The door slams him in the head because he's on the floor. He's butt naked. He's puked everywhere. He's shit everywhere, bro. And I get down on my knees and I'm Narcaning him. And the cops show up before the ambulance does. And the cop gets in there and like the dude's, it's not bringing him back. This was when car fentanyl was going around because fentanyl's not enough. Let's make something that's 100 times stronger than fentanyl.
Thank God that went away. Like it like came for a summer and then it like left.
Gone. Yeah. And this cop gets down, immediate starts rescue breathing on this dude who had thrown up everywhere. And like me and him are just working to save this dude's life together. Trauma bonded with this cop on the bathroom floor, saved the dude's life. By the time the paramedics got there, he was mumbling, I wouldn't say talking. And, you know, we were able to keep him alive long enough for the paramedics to actually get there. And that cop was such a cool fucking dude, bro. Like I made friends with those cops in Daytona Beach, which is funny because they responded to a call for my neighbor's house where the person who, my neighbors had called the cops on her because she was attacking them. And my neighbors were super elderly, right? Super elderly, like tiny little old lady. And the chick lived upstairs. She was a prostitute and a crackhead and a fent head and a big old swamp donkey, bro. Just like she was a huge bitch.
A big bitch.
And she was just up there selling pussy and she flipped out on him, bro. And she was physically assaulting this little old lady. And I heard Rosie screaming for help. I like the elderly, dog. Those are my people. And any community I'm in, if I have neighbors that are elderly, I'm gonna check up on them and some shit, you know? I heard her screaming, so I run over there and I get between them and this bitch starts hitting me, telling me she's got a gun and she's gonna kill me. And I'm videotaping the whole thing, bro. And right as I get hit, this cop walks around the corner because they'd already been called by Rosie. And I'm like, she turns around and goes, he hit me. And it's that cop that I saved that dude with. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, it's JD. And he comes to me first. He's like, you go over and talk to him. And he comes in, he's like, what's up, man? Did you hit her? And I'm like, nah, dog, I didn't fucking hit her. I'm like, I've got her hitting me on video right here. He's like, oh, okay, bet. And he goes and grabs her, takes her over to the car, tells her to cuff up. She doesn't cuff up. Two cops lift her off the ground and slam her on the fucking hood. And the whole car goes, like, I don't know how they lifted her up without throwing their back out, bro.
Justice.
It was a good thing.
It's the strength of street justice.
Yeah, because normally when a chick says that dude hit me, they don't ask a whole shitload of questions normally in Florida. They're just like, well, that checks out. Especially if you look like me, dog. They're just like, yeah, go ahead and cuff up.
Got tattoos with a big beard? He hit you? No. What?
No, not him. Not him.
He looks like he makes great life decisions.
And it was fucked up because I was on house arrest at the time and I wasn't even allowed to be over even at my neighbor's apartment, bro.
House arrest is such a fucking joke.
I heard my elderly neighbor scream, and if I hear somebody screaming for help, bro, I'm running towards it. I don't give a fuck, bro. That's me. If somebody's screaming for help, I'm gonna make sure it's okay, especially if it's a little old lady, dog. Like, dude, I don't give a fuck.
I got fucked up one time. Off duty trying to break up a domestic at like outside of my house. Heard this woman yelling and screaming and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I look outside and her man is like fucking straight up two-hand choking her. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And like, he's not stopping. And I call fucking 911. I'm like, this guy's fucking choking this bitch. I was like, I just get over here. And I run outside. I'm like, yo, fucking get your hands off her. What the fuck is wrong with you? And then she's like, no, it's okay. It's fine. And he's like, fuck you. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, well, good thing I called 911. They both fight me. She wraps up my leg. Oh, yeah. She wraps up my legs and I fall to the ground. And this dude's just fucking bouncing my head off the fucking blacktop. I was able to kick her off of me. And while he's after a couple like shots with my head bouncing off the pavement, I like bring his shirt in and I've got my head tucked into his fucking chest. Cause you can't get like a lot of power punches when your head's like in somebody's chest. And I kick her off of me and I fucking stand up and I'm like, my neighbors are outside. I'm like, yo, somebody fucking call 911 right now. Fucking call them. Cause I'm dazed. I know I could beat the shit out of this guy one-on-one, but I know I've been wrecked. Like I'm like my head's been bounced off the fucking street. So the fucking
You're
coppers
concussed
show up.
already.
Yeah, so the coppers show up, and I know it's bad because I knew one of them. I came on the job with him. We're buddies, and he's just like, "Holy shit, are you okay?" I go, "Yeah, man. They fucking both got me." I was like, "How do I look?" He's like, "Not good." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, you want him arrested?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, fuck these guys." I was like, hey, her, whatever, but him, fuck him. So, I go downtown and I write the complaint up, and the lieutenant in cell block is like, "Dickie, are you okay?" I'm like, "Dude, you're like the sixth guy that asked me if I'm okay. I feel okay. Do I need to go to the hospital?" And he's like, "You need to go to the hospital." I was like, "All right." So I fucking went to the hospital and fucking bumps and bruises and shit. And my poor friend's wife, I got my, I had an old company commander, was a lieutenant colonel in special forces. And he used to work at the local hospital. And I would call him up every time I'd go to the hospital, which was fairly often. And his fucking wife answered the phone. She's like, "Hi, what?" And I'm like, "Ooh, you answered your husband's phone. That's not good. I'm in trouble." I'm like, "Oh, I'm kind of fucked up. I'm at the hospital, kind of fight with the guy, just trying to see if he's here, if he knows anybody." She's like, "No, good night." And I was like, "Okay, never making that call again." But I was fine.
Yeah.
Got my lumps. But yeah, I got jumped off, dude. After that, I was like, "Fuck this. I'm going out with a pistol, and I'll just fucking wait. A pistol and a phone."
Bro, I'm so excited that it looks like the administration is working on getting nonviolent felons their Second Amendment rights back. I've never had a violent felony, dog. For all the dumb shit I've done, I've only gotten caught for property crimes, drug crimes, and one, felon in possession of a firearm charge. But I think that eventually I'll be able to get my Second Amendment rights back, and I'm fucking excited about that.
Let me tell you something. I actually I want to talk to you about this because I have an opinion, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't mean it's right. I have an opinion, right? So one part of me, because like when you're a convicted felon, like you lose the right to own a firearm. It's for some things, right? And then you also don't get I think you don't have the right to vote anymore.
It depends state by state. So, like, and it can also depend on the type of offense. Like, Tennessee is a no forgiveness ever state if it's a violent crime. So, like, my
Yeah.
friend Jelly Roll, he'll never be able to vote again. But here in the state of Oregon, I can vote. In the state of Florida, they changed it recently, and it's become, if you're an out of state felon, it goes by that state's guidelines. And there's pathways to get your voting rights back in the state of Florida. It's fucked up to me that it's a constitutional right and that it's run by the states, not like a federal constitutional right, when it's voting is a constitutional right if you're an American citizen. I don't understand why it's like that. But, as far as my understanding of the Constitution, that is in the Constitution a God-given right
Yeah.
and shall not be infringed. So it doesn't make sense to me that people lose their voting right or their gun rights. I think if you're not trustworthy to be able to be let back into society as a free citizen, I think they should fucking keep you or kill you, dog.
So my thing was going to be, it's kind of like two questions in one, right? I have two mindsets, right? One half of me is a constitutionalist, and in this argument, and this thought is, you serve your time, come back, fucking ta-da, all your rights restored. You served the time, you're done now. No restrictions, right? And then there's the other side of me that has seen the cop job, and I've seen people break the rules over and over and over again, and seen the people never change. So at the same time, my realist brain is like, all right, I love the Constitution and I want that to happen, but as a realist, I know that if the guy that keeps getting 3, 4, 5, and 12-year bids because he's got fucking firearms and he's not supposed to, and he's moving dope, he's never gonna fucking change. And now he's gonna like have the right to vote and like make it so that nobody goes to fucking prison and ruin New York some more. So I'm not saying take the rights away. I'm forced by my conscience to be a constitutionalist and say one and done. That's it. However, my rational brain is also like, and that's not going to be a problem at all. And like, how
I
do
think
you
it's
deal
an
with that
important
problem?
conversation, and honestly, I think that your voice in this is really important as somebody who works in fucking law enforcement, dog. Because
I'm
you know
very
you have
important. I tell
the
myself
real
that
life,
every day.
the real life experience from seeing what goes down on the streets all the time. I can tell you, as somebody who was a career criminal, whether I had Second Amendment rights or not, I was fucking caring. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't when I was a criminal, it didn't fucking matter to me if it was a crime to get a gun. In fact, it was cheaper to get a gun off the streets than it was to go to fucking Dick's or fucking, one of these sporting goods places or an actual gun shop and get a gun. I could buy a
Yeah.
stolen gun for
300
$200 at the
Yeah.
most,
Dude, I was
bro.
going to say 200-300
Um,
bucks.
yeah, facts. And so, it was cheaper and easier to just do it like that. And then it's not registered to me. I don't care when I got to throw it away, homie.
Yeah. Oh, you don't throw it
So,
away. You
I
just
think,
fucking sell it to somebody else.
well, it depends on what you've done with it. So,
That's true.
and
That's
it
true.
also depends on what situation you're in, bro. Like we were talking about earlier, if I'm in a if I'm getting pulled over and I got a gun on me, I'm gonna skirt till I get that gun off me because I know that's gonna be a higher charge than the little bit of dope I got, or the high speed chase. The
Mm.
gun's gonna be the more serious charge, but. I don't think that anybody who's ever wanted a gun that was a criminal and that was out committing crimes was like, I can't because it's illegal,
Right? Yeah.
it doesn't seem, if you want to talk about being a realist and being rational, the people that it actually affects are the people who are going to be law abiding like me. And that I'm not objective here, bro, and I understand that. But from my opinion, I know a lot of really good felons who've turned their lives around, who are, I would say, community leaders at this point with the way that they give back and the things that they're doing in their community, who would love to be able to have something to be able to protect their families in their homes from criminals. And be able to have their Second Amendment rights. And the criminals that are still criminals aren't going to give a fuck about that Second Amendment right or not.
No.
If they want a gun, they're going to get one.
I was going to ask you, what was the most common like firearm you would see sold on the street? Because I've got a couple brands that I see constantly, and I was going to bounce them off you to see if you noticed the same thing.
Saw a lot of fucking high points for a while, bro.
Rarely.
Fucking hate those fucking things, bro.
Rarely see them at all.
Yeah. So, there would be a lot of random shit, bro. I had a really dope Springfield Armory compact subcompact 9mm for a minute. I know it's kind of a small gun and everything, but I fucking liked the fuck out of that thing. Fuck, bro. It would be a lot of random shit, but there was a lot of Kel-Tecs out in Florida. And embarrassingly enough, when I got my felon in possession of a firearm, it was for a fucking Kel-Tec, dog.
Nothing wrong with that.
I was talking with Brandon about it the other day, and I'm like, man, if you're gonna catch me with a gun, they caught me with kind of a fucking effeminate gun, to be honest with you.
Bro, the ones that I would see a lot, Jimenez Arms. You ever see a Jimenez Arms pistol?
Never even heard of it.
Bro, all over fucking New York. All fucking over it. The other one, SCCY.
Never heard of that either.
Dude, we've got like regional gun.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because it's the South and like everybody was just like gun toting and there were so many guns around that they're like, oh, I don't want that shit. Give me a Glock or a SIG. This is great. But like in New York where people are like hurting for guns, they're like, what's that random Hispanic Mexican armory called? Oh, Jimenez Arms? Yeah. Dude, one of the dudes that I picked up that had an SCCY called him sissies. He's like, yeah, I got a sissy gun, man. I got a sissy. I'm like, you've got a what? A sissy gun. And then my mind immediately went to SCCY. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, that's wild, bro. So, like, you were in New York, you see a lot of fucking guns out there? Is there a lot of people out there with guns?
Yeah.
So it's funny because to me it's funny at least because so Oregon where I lived and did crime for a long time. I know about the availability of guns on the streets in the state of Oregon, and then I lived in Florida, which per capita has a hell of a lot of guns too and a lot of availability. Um there was about the same amount of guns on the streets in both places, and Oregon has a lot stronger gun control laws. And still it's about the same for, at least in the metropolitan areas, it's about the same availability of guns on the streets. Oregon's prices on the streets were a little bit higher, but not a lot. Florida's prices, it was a little bit cheaper. So I always wonder because, states that have gun control laws that are heavier versus lighter gun control laws, from my experience, about the same availability on the street to get illegal guns.
Interesting. A lot
Yeah.
of ours come from Atlanta.
Oh, that tracks, dog. That tracks.
Bro, we got like a hood hotline from Hot Atlanta coming right up to Buffalo. It's like
Yeah.
half of the east side has family or a cousin, or that's where they staycation at. And they'll go down to Atlanta and they know somebody in Atlanta, and Atlanta people from Atlanta just make trips all the time bringing guns. It's insane. It's like Atlanta and Ohio is where for a while. I'm saying for like one summer, not for one summer, but anyway, one summer when I was looking into it, we were like getting a lot of guns and shit and making a lot of moves. It was like it was almost always either Atlanta or someplace in Ohio was somebody was moving 3 or 4 or 5 pistols in a car, bringing them up to New York.
It weirds me out because like Florida is such a port place, but like all of the dope that I was getting out there, like I was having to have brought to me from Atlanta. Atlanta's just a hub for grimy shit, dog. It's just a huge grimy shit hub.
Dude, I'm like, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I see it like going like down like Detroit. Like I feel like Atlanta's just like I've just been seeing the writing on the wall for so long. Like all this crime, all this shit. Their fucking mayor sucks. Their do you remember like a couple? I think it might have been George Floyd, and maybe it was Michael Brown. But like a couple years ago, there was an amazing radio call. A whole bunch of coppers in Chicago took off because there was some shit going on, like a bunch of protests about Chicago cops, or I mean, not Chicago, Atlanta cops. And the Atlanta cops were like, fuck this. If they want to come after us for doing the right fucking thing, fuck them. So, like, there were shots fired going off and popping rounds off. And the one Atlanta, they're like, hey, we got any cars? We got any cars? We got shots fired. And somebody went on the radio and said, let them shoot, radio. Let them shoot. Something to that effect. They were like, let them. Let them. We're not going out there to risk our necks for a city that doesn't want to support us. And I'm like, oh, shit. Everybody said that, not on the radio. I've been around talks around the water cooler where we're fucking where we've headed up to here with some bullshit, and we don't want to throw our necks on the line because cops that do their job get in trouble. But when I heard that in Atlanta, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, good for you. But I still see that grimy shit happening where none of it's getting addressed. Nobody's just saying, fuck it, I'm mayor for 4 years. All right, we're letting the feds in. We're letting the county sheriffs in, parish, they call it down there. And we're fucking letting our city cops run wild for 3 years. Just fucking cracking skulls and kicking in doors. Watch the fucking crime drop. But I've seen Atlanta grow in crime a lot in the past like 7-8 years.
I was not as plugged in during that period of time because I was, like I said, I took a long time to just steady figure out, why am I fucked up? Why do I keep tanking my life? How do I build a better way of life? And that was during that period of time. But I remember like hearing what was going on in Portland for sure. And then because I lived in Portland, Oregon for years. And when I came back to Oregon, Portland still has not recovered from them burning shit down, all of the fucking riots, all that BLM shit, bro. Like Portland is, I mean, they've rebuilt a little bit of shit and everything, but it's still not recovered from what they just let happen down there, bro. It's wild to me that they just stood aside and just, yeah, burn down fucking federal buildings and, you know, burn down fucking community owned local stores. Go for it. Whatever you need to do. Like, what the fuck is going on with that, bro?
Bro, more people need to get shot, man. It just is what it is. More people need to get shot. Not by us, by like
Yes!
law-abiding citizens. Like, dude, if I had we had the riots here for George Floyd, and I was on the riot squad. I was one of the 2 platoon leaders. I had 30-something dudes that I was in charge of for the riots, and we tore it up one night where there was a massive riot in the city. It was bigger than Rodney King. It was bigger than the Rodney King riots that we had in Buffalo. And my team and I and the other half of the squad of the whole riot unit did a phenomenal job. And I was just like, dude, if I'm any business owner, I'm packing like 500 rounds. I'm grabbing a shotgun that's got, like, a pump action shotgun, and I'm bringing like 50 fucking slugs, like, and a bunch of buckshot, and I'm just making it rain buckshot if anybody steps near my fucking windows. The only way my window's going to get broke is if I'm shooting through it. What's that?
Does that end well for them in New York? Business owner?
So let's say, like, judges and juries in New York are emotional, like 12-year-old girls. Okay? That's the best definition I can say. If you can paint a picture the right way, you can, these bullshit non-stand your ground, you have a duty to retreat laws that we have in New York are fucking bullshit. If there's a riot going on and let me word it this way. All right. Let's say I'm on the stand. Richard High, why did you shoot those people that were coming into your store that were peacefully protesting? Jury, judge, I was trapped in my store and I could not leave because they had me surrounded. I feared for my life and my personal safety. They were already lighting things on fire across the United States. I thought they were going to burn down my building with me in it. And then they began to come inside. And I thought they would attack me and kill me. So I shot the shit out of them to save my life. And then everybody there is going to be like, well, that makes sense. And then you're fucking gone.
But it's a toss-up. There's still a chance they're going to end up in prison for doing that. I had a lawyer tell me that if I ever got in a situation like that, to piss my pants, even if I don't do it while shooting or anything, before the cops get there, piss your pants. So you could be like, I was so scared for my life, bro. I pissed myself.
Bro, I'd be like, they were going to kill me. I was scared for my life. They were going to kill me. I would like a lawyer. Whoop. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, okay, so let me ask you this. How many people, I know you're probably not just normal on the street beat anymore, but in your experience, how many people talk their way into charges or build your case for you because they don't know to just shut the fuck up?
I've pretty much all the time I've already got you. When I was a jump out boy, I had my PC to stop you. I was going to the corner because there was already complaints about it made to the city hall about drug sales in the area. When you look at me with oh shit eyes and you fucking grab your waistband and then start blading away from me, I'm like, there's my bitch. Like, I've got all the PC in the world now to be like, excuse me, I have a reasonable suspicion that something illegal is happening here based on the complaints, your body motions, and where you just grabbed in your waistband, because that's where people hide pistols. I need you to stop and talk to me. I need you to answer some questions that I have. And then they run. So reasonable suspicion plus flight I can detain. Or reasonable suspicion I can detain. If I have a reasonable suspicion that a crime has occurred, about to occur, or is occurring, then I can detain you and then I can investigate it. But when you have reasonable suspicion and you have flight in that you can give chase. So like I never really had anybody have to talk themselves into charges because I already knew what I was going to do with you. And you know, when you go after dope boys and guys that got guns, like I already know who you are. I'm doing an investigation. I'm buying into you. Now, is it nice and does it help when they start talking to me and confirm? Yes. Yeah, yeah, I love it when they talk to me. And I'm currently in special victims unit, so all I'm dealing with is the kid touchers, the predators, and the woman beaters. So I've been
A
there.
dog.
Yeah, I've been here for a minute. That's
How long
why,
you
yeah,
been
that's
in
why I
that,
told you the
bro?
story about me looking or trying to get the guy saying that I was a 12-year-old girl. Because that's
How long have you been in that?
I was in it originally for like 9 months, and then I left it for the feds, and then I've been back in it, and then I came back to it. So I think I've got over. I'm probably pushing a year and a half.
So, is there like a burnout period that a lot of people just get to the point where they're like, I can't do this anymore in that
So
particular vein?
I've answered this question before. I don't have burnout yet. Um, and I think why I don't have burnout is because I've always kind of seen policing as a game, and and this is like a way that I feel like it's a healthy way that I kind of take on like these, especially when it comes to assault against children, like sexual assault against kids, right? Is if I start the investigation and the investigation goes into, let's say, you know, a kid complains to mommy that, you know, their private parts hurt. And mommy's like, well, who hurt you there? And they're like, you know, Uncle Steve did, right? So let's say that's the beginning of the investigation. Either the investigation goes, oh, he wiped him hard when he was babysitting him. There's no disclosures. Everything he did was fine. The kid's too young to understand that Uncle Jimmy was helping him out and helping mom out and changed his diaper. No issues, right? 100% resolved, right? Then I'm like, sweet, cool. Nothing bad happened. Thank God. But
Yeah, that's a win.
it's a huge win. But if Uncle touched little Jimmy and it's just like, yeah, no, Uncle, which I'm kind of dealing with, well, I'm dealing with one of them right now that's really fucking sick. Where this guy basically sexually abused this kid for years and was like doing very adult sexual things with him. And like, let's say that Jimmy says like, that's what was happening to me. Then I go, fuck yeah, I'm going to fucking bury this guy. It's a win-win for me. I'm either nothing happened and the kid's fine, thank God.
And hallelujah.
Or I'm about to go fucking get me one. Oh, and I'm going to get him. And that's the way that I see it. And then there are times where, you know, that it's not that cut and dry, where during the investigation, people will fall off and they won't contact me anymore. And I'm like, come on, pick up the fucking phone. I'm working the case. I need you to help me out, victim. And that gets frustrating, but like, I can't get frustrated for a person. I will say this, on 2 occasions, both of which I'm working now, have I decided that I won't stop. Like, even if the victim has been like not calling, won't come in and talk to me, I know what they said is true based on like other information and evidence that I've been able to collect. And I'm like, even though they've fallen off with me and I haven't talked to them in months, fuck it, I'm still going in on this. I can't let this stop, because eventually, if they change their mind and want to talk to me again, I'm going to fuck this guy over. And in the future, when he does what he's been doing, he's a serial rapist, is one of them. I'm going to pin him to the wall when I get one good person that wants to come in and I can throw all the shit on him. So that one, the serial rapist, I'm actually talking to somebody, one of the victims, again this upcoming weekend, and that's one of them that fell off. Then we were like, fuck, we're lost in the wind. So, and this one's been going on, Jesus, since like Like we've been hitting the ground running since October, and people have fallen off. So that serial rapist is one that we accidentally found, like a fucking movie. I accidentally found a serial rapist, and me and this other detective are like, well, let's look back at this. Well, let's look back at that. Well, wait. Well, this address links up with that address, and we're like, holy shit, this guy's fuck. He's got like, I don't know how many 12 and 14-year-old girls under his belt that we know of. I don't know about the ones we don't know. So we're going after him, which I'm very excited for. And then there's a second case, which is just mine, that I haven't been splitting with anybody else. It's my baby that I haven't given up on. And this one was a gang assault and human trafficking. And the victim really fell off and like just ignored me, and that would set up like dates to come in and talk to me and then just no show. And like when you set up dates and you no show, you know that case is dead, because a normal person would be like, hey, I can't make it, let's reschedule. When they don't even do that, you know that victim's gone. And I was like, fuck this, I'm not giving up. There's too many people involved in this that are bad guys to this one poor woman that's the victim. And then she came around, and I was like, fuck yeah. We had a 5.5 hour interview. Our first interview was 5.5 hours of her telling me what happened to her. Fucking insane.
Oh, here's my thing is that, like, I would think that with every case, do you think that anybody just diddles one kid? Do you think that anybody just like rapes one time? I don't think that the people who have the capability for that generally, I mean, I'm sure there's exceptions, but I would assume that the type of person who can do that type of shit is gonna do it again.
So this isn't really based on, I could be persuaded either way, right? What I'm about to say, I can be shown information otherwise, and I'll change my opinion, right? I'm not stuck on this. I'm not going to die on this hill.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that there is the desire for the act. And although you may have the desire, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to act on it, right? So that's like a different level. It's like the lowest level of toucher, right? The ones that don't act on it, the ones that might look, like might consume the kiddie stuff on the internet or go to forum. Let's say the low end one is like they dress up and they watch anime and they're attracted to like the little girls in cartoons, right? And then the higher level of the don't act is the porn havers, right? That they collect it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once you have that desire and then you act on that desire, then you've done the physical act of some sort of molestation, or assault. Once you get that to that point, there's no coming back, in my opinion. I feel like the second that you act on it, you'll do it again. You've already done it. Your foot's already in the fire. So I
think it just comes down to opportunity at that point.
Yeah.
Like proximity and probability of getting away with it. I think that anybody who's been able to do that type of thing to a kid, I think that given the opportunity where they think they can get away with it, I think they do it again in a heartbeat.
Oh, I got a couple super chats. Loki, what's up, man? Join the Navy. Oh, picked a good job. Dan. Hey man, I'm glad to have you back on. All right, brother, go to bed. Sorry. Love my super chat people. They're good people.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. You've got a cool community over here. I know you don't stop and check out my shit very often. I see your stuff, bro, and I see the people in your comments, man. You've got a dope ass community over here, bro.
I got a weird group of people, man. Like they don't fuck with me. And you know what's funny is people will say like, oh, you're a drill sergeant, and you're a cop and you're kind of a smart ass, like you're quick witted. I bet you really fuck people up in the comments. And I'm like, not really. Nobody really comes in my comment section to come shit on me. And if they do, my community fucks them up. My community lights them up. They're like, oh, you don't get it, guy. Shut up. And they fucking tear into him.
That's awesome. I get quite a bit of people. The vast overwhelming majority of the people in my community, the people that are actually like subs and shit, they're fucking super cool. I don't get a lot of nonsense from them, but I get, people that just randomly see me. I do get like the occasional just glaring hate comments, and my community will go in on them too. And I love that so much, bro. It's so awesome to see that you have a rapport with people where they're loyal and they'll actually stand up for you.
Oh yeah, I got a
So
solid group of people.
yeah,
You know
that's what's
what?
up.
We've been gabbing for 2 hours like two old ladies at the hair salon. It's 11 o'clock here on the East Coast, and I gotta go do an interview tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna kill it. We're gonna end it here. Thank you for coming on, JD. Where can the people that want to find you find you?
Hey, so I am JD Delay 5150 on YouTube and TikTok. I've got like 1.3 million on YouTube, 1.7 on TikTok. I am JD.delay on Instagram. And yeah, that's about it, bud.
Oh yeah, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate I appreciate you having me, man. It's always cool to talk to you, bro.
I like bullshitting with you, man. Like I said, it's like we're the same coin, we're just opposite sides, and it's always fun to. I always get excited when you talk about shit that I know about on the streets. It's like enough leaked over into me, and I know I'm not gonna know everything, right? Like you're not gonna know everything about being a cop and shit, but it's like it's just fun. It's fucking fun to talk to you, dude.
I still think that me and you and Nick need to do a fucking predator catch, even if we just do it once and we do it in a state and a county where they actually break off some real time, bro. I know that my homie out in Arkansas would love to have us out there. They've got some real solid laws on it, and we could set it up with their department. And it wouldn't be a thing where they're into proactive policing out there.
Hmm.
They're not just into the reactive shit. I know like Washington State, New York, Washington State just lowered the penalties if it's not a real kid that they're talking to. So like if Chris Hansen or us were to go out there, they give them lower
Who
penalties
did
just
that?
because it was a sting op. The state of Washington.
So a bait account stating that it's an underage person with the What?
Yeah, so it's half the time on probation and half the time on the registry. So they cut it in half if it's not an actual child being damaged, even though the intention was there, even though the follow through to meet up was there. They cut it in half because it wasn't an actual child. But I know if we were to do it out in Arkansas, we could do it and we could actually put some people away. And I think the people would love to see me, you, and Nick do that. And I think it could be hilarious.
Well,
I want to make pee touchers cry, bro.
I'm practicing right now, man. I'm practicing on the real deal so that I can make my my TV.
You're doing the Lord's work out there, dog. I'm dead serious. I am so proud of the work that you do. Like,
Thanks,
I've
bud.
never been like anti law enforcement, but like my favorite are the ones who are doing exactly what you're doing. And I know that like a lot of the time it's probably you have to see some gnarly shit. I know it's probably hard on your mental health some days, even though you carry it well, man. And I just applaud what you're doing, bro. Thank you for being the person that you are.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. All right, we're gonna
Yeah.
sign off, weirdos.
Tiny
Yeah,
hand job.
stroke me off a little bit more, make me feel good about
Tiny hand
myself.
job.
Right. All right.
All right, brother.
We'll see ya.